sounds great, Wes.
This song I just kind of pieced together during when the BLM movement was happening and the riots and everything was happening. I felt this song come on, and I was actually with Brandon, and I was actually at his house, and I was like, ooh, this is kind of a cool tune, and I just kind of started feeling it, and I just came up with this little lick. There's hope for the future. It starts with you, something powerful in the words you choose. Sometimes it feels like you're not going through, but it's your truth. Right is one and one for all. Together we'll stand up very tall. The evil that wants us to fall. We will rise. We will rise. Rise up. We will rise. Rise up. We will rise, rise up, we will rise. As the blood that runs through our veins creates the same stain, we're all the same, human DNA. We make mistakes, we feel pain, and it's time for us to change. Do it for the children, so when they grow up they're free. Of inhumane division, rules humanity. Make your voices loud, let your hearts cry out. Together we'll make that change, and the change happens now. So rise, rise up. So rise, rise up. Oh, rise, rise up. We will rise. So blood that runs through our veins creates the same stain. We're all the same, human DNA. We make mistakes, we feel pain, and it's time for us to change. It's time for us to change. Do it for the children, so when they grow up they're free of inhumane division that rules humanity. So make your voices loud, let your hearts cry out. Make that change happen, and that change happens now. Rise, 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 rise up. Oh, rise, 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 rise up. Oh, rise, 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 rise up. We will rise, rise up.
Thank you so much, Wes. It was beautiful.
What a great bus. Thank you.
All right, it's 11. I see a lot of new faces here. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Sharon. Sasha. The first time I'm seeing a lot of you actually not in pictures, so it's nice.
Is there any way, Bree, that we could do one more song since there's a lot of people signing on still?
Yeah, I think we can do a couple minutes.
You guys want me to just jam out on some piano? This is kind of a nice, it's Saturday morning. It's beautiful outside. The smoke has resided a little bit. But you know what? This is a song I just wrote. It's just a piano piece.
Thanks, Wesley. I just got a slew of emails from people that the link must have gone to their spam, so I need actually 1 minute to send a bunch of Zoom links. 1 second.
You guys, you can just interrupt me when you're ready to go.
No, keep going, my friend.
Thank you, Wes.
Thank you, Wes.
Thank you.
All right, I see Michael's made it, and let's see, Jules. I think everyone I sent Nicole, I sent the link to, ended up finding themselves here. Good to see you today. I think we're ready to start. So welcome to the Central Coast Green Building Council Green Gala. Was going to be in 2019 and is now in 2020. So it's kind of like 2 years in one. And yeah, I'm just going to briefly kind of introduce you all to how we're going to run this digital space today. So we have some orientation around that, and then we'll kick it off. So I'm Brianna Ruland. I'm the kind of back of house one that you've been sending has been sending you a lot of emails lately. So the communications director for the Central Coast Green Building Council. And you're all welcome to introduce yourselves in the chat, write your names and where you work and whatever other kind of greeting you have for everyone today. It's always nice to just hear from who's here. And so the way that we're going to run the Zoom today is mostly, basically you guys can just kick back and enjoy, if you got brunch or just enjoy your time here, because we don't have any time where there's actual, we're not doing any breakout rooms, nothing where you need to be talking. So you can just chat with each other in the chat box, and you can chat on the box. You can notice that you can either chat to everyone, or if you see someone that you've been interested in speaking with or have wanted to say hi to just them, you can actually scroll down and choose which person, and choose chat privately to people as well, which is kind of nice. And so yeah, everyone will stay muted the whole time except for the people that are already know that they're going to be speaking. And we're going to have two modes, where we have full screen mode, where we'll be showing the presentation, which is the majority of the event, where you can just see some faces on the side. And in this mode, you will be able to access the chat at the top. There's the little, if you move your cursor up to the top, and there's some 3 dots, and you can find the chat there. And when we are not in full screen, then you can kind of see everyone and switch back and forth. That'll be during our breaks and when Wesley is playing for us. And then you can choose to go between speaker view and gallery view, whether you want to just view him or all of our friends here. And that's in the top right-hand corner. And yeah, so the silent auction is also going to be happening throughout, and it will end about a half hour after the event. And so the link will be posted in the chat a few times so that you can have that window up if you want during the event, to keep tabs on anything you might be bidding on. And yeah, if you have any questions, reach out to myself. You can see my name, Brianna Ruland, in the note box. And then Samantha Huntley is also here helping out. And so she's our silent auction guru. So if you have any questions about that, reach out to her and you can chat with her privately about that. So yeah, thank you all for being here with us today. I'm really looking forward to this event. And passing the mic to Brandon, our president.
How's it going, everyone? Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for joining us here. This is a unique and really special opportunity to circle up in the new digital age of Zoom. It's funny what we're getting used to these days. But I just want to take a moment just to recognize the collection of people that are here, folks from all, builders, contractors, architects, educators, musicians. These moments are really special to recognize community, and being the board president and bringing on new board members and getting to know some of those who have been with the board since the beginning, Paul Poirier being one of them, just really growing family around something is really important, right? Building the world that we wish to see. So as we come together, we strengthen our ability to imagine a world where there's clean air and clean water and access, thinking about the people that we are caring for, the places that we care for, and especially representing the Tri-County from San Luis Obispo to Santa Barbara and Ventura County. What a special gem that we have access to. And not only do we have a responsibility, but an opportunity to care for something that's so unique and so magical. So to even have an opportunity to represent the Tri-County is a blessing, is a gift. I hope you all feel the same way. This definitely is home for me, and I'm just grateful to share this opportunity with the people involved in the Central Coast Green Building Council. And we had to pay homage, of course, to the USGBC, who has paved the way for so much advancement in the building sector. So again, I just wanted to say thank you for being here. This event is a long time coming, and it's unusual but unique and special, and I'm just grateful to share this moment with all of you. And so here at the Central Coast Green Building Council, and we're a small collection of people from different walks of life. And we are a nonprofit that gets all of our funding from local sources. So a lot of them being different organizations and companies that support us financially. But this event is our really our big fundraiser for the year. So hopefully you will join the rest of us in jumping in the silent auction and finding something to bid on today. But before we move forward to the awards, I just want to pay homage and recognize the board members who are paying board members. Right? So we jokingly say that we all pay to be board members for the CCGBC, and that's because we really care about what we're doing. This work is really important to us. So not only do we volunteer our time, but we are all members as well as board members. So just want to introduce everyone, starting the top left. That's me, Brandon Kaysen, Candace next to me, Paul, Dustin, and Amanda, and starting on the bottom left, we have Scott and Brian, Cash, Ryan, and then of course Bree, who helps keep the wheels turning on this organization. We wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Bree. And most of the success that we realize as the Central Coast Green Building Council has been a product of Bree's support and love and care for the board. So thank you everyone for your participation, and particularly Bree for helping keep the wheels turning. So I'd love to hand it over to Paul Poirier, who was the board's first president, and he's going to run over some of the history of the board and a little bit about our sponsors.
Hey there. So I'm Paul Poirier. I'm the first president of the Central Coast Green Building Council. Back then we were called the USGBC California Central Coast Chapter, C4. And as a quick going back in time, everyone knows the environmental movement on the Central Coast, if not the nation, started in 1969 after the big oil spill in Santa Barbara. And since that time, everybody on the Central Coast has had a big passion for doing things different, having a great concern for the beautiful environment we have, and doing everything we can to do things the right way. So we have so many great allies. All of you guys attending today have pushed that movement forward, and it's awesome. Around the 90s, the Sustainability Project started working in Santa Barbara. Slow Green Build started working in San Luis Obispo. The USGBC national organization was just starting to form around 1993. Ventura had the Ventura County Green Building Council. And so everyone was working independently. And around 2008, we decided to kind of merge these different organizations together to and get a tri-county effort going to address climate change and address green building and really get an alliance going between the three counties and all the people that were doing this kind of work in those areas, create alliances, do projects together, educate each other, get the elders. I see Dennis Allen's on here to teach us youngsters how to do it right. And really, it was very, very fruitful. We have a long list of people who stepped up to be president of our chapter after me, including Marilyn Farmer from SLO, Kara Davis from Ventura, Scott Shorich from Ventura County. I think Stacy White was in there sometime. Michelle Zimney now works in SLO and lives in Santa Barbara. Candace Wong from SLO, and Brandon Kaysen, who works down in Ventura and lives in Santa Barbara. So they don't live one place, they work another. And it all works out. We've done so many different projects over the years that have helped things move along, but I'm happy to see that amongst the lead training, the smart trailer, bringing speakers in from out of town, we've been able to influence our politicians and plant some politicians on the different boards to where the County of Ventura, the City of Santa Barbara, and the City of Santa Luis now have committed to do zero net carbon buildings by the year 2035. I'm not sure about Ventura County, what their zero net carbon goal is, but we're building a coalition of counties who are hardcore on the Central Coast in the government to really step forward and try to eliminate carbon from the codes for building buildings. And we're here to help support them and get them to do it. So carry on with the green schools, learning from the pandemic event, so many different things that we've done. It's like impossible to mention them all. But that is the general history of what we've been doing, collaborating with the Living Future folks up in Seattle, Zero Net Building Conferences in LA, participating in Green Build, showing them what we're doing on the Central Coast. We took our trailer there and a bunch of people copied us and started making trailers to talk about green building across the country. So it's kind of flattering to have a great idea that came out of Dave Entner and Ojai and a couple folks from Ventura to get something that is contagious. That's good. And that's about it. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to Brandon and we can get talking about to Bree to explain the silent auction.
I made it, hold on. Let's scroll through just a couple photos of our Build Smart trailer so you can see that in more detail. And yeah, before I start, a big thank you also to our sponsors this year. These are the annual sponsors, Tenover, Studio, Tailored Siphon, BMA. These are really, the sponsors that help keep us going. Without them, we would not be here. We are really, really a nonprofit and really only supported by local companies and people. So thank you so much. Sun Pacific Solar Electric, City of Ventura Environmental Sustainability, Renewal Revolution, Allen Construction, Ecolon, SB, Paul Poirier, Sands & Co, Manifest, Studio 2G, Imbalance, and Solarponics. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know a lot of you guys are here today, and so thanks for also showing up in person and hanging out with us. And then these are the sponsors for the Green Awards. So this event specifically, and it's a blend of folks who have donated, either just financially or, but also the people who have donated through the silent auction with in-kind donations. And just a couple more to note here that are really special. Patagonia is actually one of the CCGBC's founding sponsors 12 years ago, the very beginning. Michael Riddell is, he helped to do the bases, the steel bases. He's been our awards artisan for a while, and you'll see some pictures of his beautiful steel bases that he's made. And Peter Ridnev is an artist who has a unique story that he's a friend of one of our board members, and he's actually a Russian refugee that has just been granted asylum here in Colorado, I believe he lives now, and he makes amazing artwork. and he's going to donate 20% of the proceeds of some of his work to the Central Coast Green Building Council, and then off of his website. But then he has a couple items in our silent auction, so check them out. And then thank you to all of these wonderful people. WW Fit Personal Training is also Wesley, so he's a multi-talented being, and you can read more about that in the silent auction site as well. And yes, and then thank you to our sponsor, or our participating restaurants, which they sponsored in kind by giving you guys donations or discounts to some of their great food this morning, and I hope some of you have eaten that already or are in the middle of a really scrumptious meal. So in order to get to the silent auction, Samantha just posted the link in the chat. And if you haven't bid already, it's super easy. There's a little place where you can either on the right hand place a bid, or you see the info for the item. And once you place a bid, you get a confirmation text or email. And if you get outbid, you also will get one. And the bidding closes at the end of the event. Well, maybe 30 minutes after is what we'll do. And then when you win, you get a text and an email confirmation, and then the link to pay. So that's it. That's how it works. Let us know if you have any questions. So I'll pass it back to Brandon to introduce our Green Awards judges.
All right, thank you, Bree. So the judges are really the ones that make the Green Awards happen. They make it a reality. So they put in a lot of the heavy lifting and sift through all of the fantastic nominations and grade the projects and come up with our winners. So the first judge is Elliott. She's a lead green associate and certified energy manager who runs energy and climate program at the city of Santa Barbara. She identifies energy efficiency and conservation strategies and helps implement new technologies to reduce the city's energy consumption and transition to 100% renewable energy, as well as strategies to get towards the city's climate action. Paul mentioned the pursuit to zero carbon, and Elliott is a big piece of that. Thank you, Elliott. Can we go to the next judge, please? Okay, next we have John. John's here with us to help celebrate some of the projects that we've selected. He is the supervisor at the County of San Luis Obispo and responsible for a lot of the great work happening at the Tri-County Regional Energy Alliance. I work for the city, and we are actually taking advantage of some of the amazing programs out of 3C REN, so thank you, John. He serves on the board of the SLO Climate Coalition and San Luis Obispo County Green Business Program and the California Rural and Hard to Reach Working Group. Prior to working at the public sector in California, John was a sustainability consultant in Vermont, working with cities, universities, and corporations. He has a master's degree in environmental science and policy from Borden College, a master's degree in business administration from Chaplin College. Definitely someone who has committed his life and career to this work. So thank you, John. Appreciate you and all of you've done. Scott Nyborg, who was selected to be a judge actually before becoming a board member for the CCGBC. Scott's worked in the construction industry for more than 15 years, having played many different roles, from foreman to project manager and business owner and leader. Today, he leverages his experience as an educator as a part of Procore's construction education team. Scott's passionate about raising the bar for the industry by driving both performance-based approach to sustainable construction and the application of technology to best practices in construction management. He's also a new father, and can you imagine trying to balance all these things with little ones around the house? So thank you, Scott, for everything that you've done and for helping out with the judging. And we have Ryan Ledbetter, who comes from a long lineage of building and developing. Construction came naturally to him at a young age and has become his passion. He graduated from CSU Chico with a bachelor's degree in financial management. While paying his way through school, he became employed in the construction trades. And throughout the years, he's honed his skills working for firms such as Allen Construction and Household Builders, obtaining a general contractor's license and becoming certified with Build It Green and the Building Performance Institute. Ryan's background has always been focused around custom residential construction, thoroughly enjoying his unique and challenging environment and having an acute interest in building science and high performance building techniques. Thank you, Ryan, for your participation and support throughout the Green Awards. Okay, and of course, our featured musician tonight is Mr. Wesley Wilson. He is a dear friend of mine, and he just released some music on SoundCloud, or on Spotify, sorry, so make sure to go in and give some listens online when you get a chance. But thank you, Wes, for being here and blessing us with your gift.
Thank you, Brandon.
And Bree, I think you're going to introduce the keynote speaker to the board. And I believe you're on mute. There you go.
Okay, my unmute button was hiding. Yeah, so our keynote speaker today, I'm really excited to introduce, and he's Chris Magwood. Chris Magwood is obsessed with helping reverse climate change by making carbon storing buildings that are also healthy, beautiful, efficient, and inspiring. He's currently the executive director of the Endeavour Center, a nonprofit sustainable building school in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. And the school runs a full-time certificate program, multiple programs actually, focused on sustainable building and design. And they host dozens of hands-on workshops annually. We'll definitely follow up with links and how you can learn more and get involved actually in the stuff that Chris is doing as a follow-up to this event. In 2019, he helped to establish Builders for Climate Action, which will be rolling out a set of tools and policy options to help governments, designers, and builders reverse climate change with their buildings. And Chris has authored 7 books on sustainable building, including Essential Sustainable Home Design in 2017. And he is a co-editor of the Sustainable Building Essentials series from the New Society Publishers, and recently contributed to a chapter to the book, The New Carbon Architecture. And in 1998, he's not that old, he co-founded Camel's Back Construction. And for over 8 years, he helped to design and build more than 30 homes and commercial buildings, mostly with straw bales and often with renewable energy systems. He's completed an MA at Trent University with his thesis on opportunities for carbon removal and storage in building materials, which you can download directly from his website actually and read if you're gonna really geek out. And yeah, he will speak at the end of the awards. So once all of the projects and everything have been shared, he will show up and speak with us for about 20 minutes. So stay tuned to hear his keynote about how to design buildings to store carbon. And now I'll hand it off to Candace to just let us know, how did we even choose the People's Awards? What are they? This is the first time we've done them before. Go ahead, Candace.
That is correct. So good morning, everyone. So happy to be here finally. Bree and the board and I have been planning this Green Gala and Awards for quite some time. And, you know, we're finally here today, so that's a great achievement to to have you all here with us to celebrate some great people and some great awards for them. So I think as Paul mentioned, you know, our chapter started about in 2009. And, you know, in 2019, last year, we thought, you know, it's been 10 years. Let's really kick up our annual celebration of projects and really talk about the people behind those projects, the people that are really behind sustainability and doing the work every day. And let's celebrate them as well as their good work. And so that's how the People's Award came about. And so we created this awards category to celebrate people, their organizations, their companies. And so there's quite a few categories. If you are one of the applicants, you had to write a compelling paragraph about your nominee. And then the judges had the hard time of figuring out who was deserving of these awards. And I think the answer was everyone. And so, so we're celebrating quite a few of these nominees today with some pretty great awards. So with that, we can get started, Bree, and I'll just, and you'll see these in the pictures. We have some of the metal awards, which are the with the metal bases and the glass, and then the wood ones as well. So they'll come up in the pictures. So our first winner for being a pioneer in the green building industry is Michael Robertson. And he is an amazing individual. He has been working in sustainability for over 3 decades. He has traveled the world to learn about sustainability. He is, we are grateful that he is here locally with us in our chapter and in San Luis Obispo as a resource through his business, Green Goods. And Michael has volunteered, or actually he was one of the founding members of Slow Green Build in the early days of San Luis Obispo's effort to grassroots organize sustainability, people who are like-minded, just like Paul said, which led to the forming of the USGBC chapter here in our tri-counties. And so Michael deserves a lot of credit for being one of those guys behind the scenes working every day. So thank you so much, Michael. I think there's a few more slides there where he's showing some of his projects. There's the group there at Green Goods. So, you know, and there he is with his award. So thank you so much, Michael, for being a leader of our community and for your work in sustainability. All right, so our next award recipient is Peggy Sonoda. And I actually have worked with Peggy for many years. And so Peggy's actually on her 3rd act right now as a semi-retiree. We worked together at RM where we worked on many, many LEED certified projects. And so she has been a champion of the USGBC and our chapter for a long time. And she has done all that grueling paperwork that is part of the LEED process. And so she is definitely someone who understands sustainability and can speak very intelligently about sustainability. She's done some great projects that are locally here that you can see, and some that are a little bit far too, throughout California. And so Peggy is currently working on building her home and using SIPs as the product of choice for her home. So she not only talks the talk, but she walks the walk. So congratulations, Peggy, for this award. It's greatly, richly deserved. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you can hang it up in your new home as well. And she is actually married to Michael Riddell, who is the metal artist that Bree mentioned earlier. So thank you, Peggy, for introducing us to your husband and sharing him with us. And with that, I'll hand it over to Paul.
Great. Yeah, I'm proud to offer this award, the Pioneering Green Building Honorable Merit Award, to Michael Holliday. He's a principal over at DMHHA Architecture and Interior Design. He was given his fellow by the American Institute of Architects a few years ago. Certainly has done a lot of projects around Santa Barbara, including the UCSB Manzanita Village, Santa Barbara Bowl renovation, and recently constructed Rec Relief World Headquarters out in Goleta. He's been the president of the AIA and involved in many other organizations, including the Chamber of Commerce. And he's just a guy who's out there trying to get people to learn to be better in the profession of architecture and learn about what architects can do for you. You can go to the next slide, Bree. But yeah, so this is a quote from Rose Hildebrandt that she said, "The impact you've had as a leading architect in the Santa Barbara community over the last 30 years is astounding. You continue your commitment to mentor and encourage young, aspiring architects of the next generation like me through career day events for high school students and employing college interns." So if there's an opportunity to talk about architecture, what architecture can do for the community, you know Michael's going to be there in the Santa Barbara area, and it's that kind of commitment that we need to keep pushing this green movement forward. So thank you very much, Michael, for all you've done relating to that. And then also another cohort of mine, Dennis Allen, principal of Allen Construction. He built his own home to LEED Platinum for home standards. He served on the following boards: the Community Environmental Council, the Environmental Defense Center, UCSB's Brin School, Dean's Council, Natural History Museum, the Sustainability Project. He's spoken at so many different things relating to green building and construction and how to do things right. A big advocate with the Contractors Association. I couldn't be prouder of giving the Lifetime Achievement Award to Dennis Allen. He mentored me through work in the Sustainability Project and the Green Building Alliance. Just an incredible guy. If anybody ever has the chance to do something with Dennis, whether it's talking about his cool house he lives in now downtown or watching monarch butterflies come out of their cocoons on his deck, you know, incredible guy to be with. I love this picture of you, Dennis, where you look like a youngster, a hipster almost, you know. It's great. In his early years, pushing solar back in the 70s and doing different sorts of thermal mass projects back in the day. And certainly have built a good company that's pushing the envelope on green building these days as well. Here's a quote from his employees, I guess. "There's no one more dedicated to leaving this place better than when he found it than you, Dennis. Due to your hard work and dedication over numerous decades, you've inspired others to incorporate green building and sustainable action in their own lives." And Dennis is certainly the kind of person that walks the walk. You know, he's promoting this stuff, exploring this stuff, innovating this stuff, and doing it in his own home, and it's awesome. And thank you for all the people you've mentored, myself included, in the community, because I know Karen as well has learned so much from you, and anybody that crosses your path has made a bigger difference on the planet because of you. So thank you so much. And this Lifetime Achievement Honorable Merit Award goes to Dennis Elliott. Gold Tree Solar Farm located at Cal Poly. I don't know Dennis, but my two kids are going to Cal Poly, which is awesome. So they have a new approach to project planning for academic innovation being applied to the next big sustainable infrastructure project at Cal Poly. They're creating an on-campus recycled water facility to treat campus wastewater for ag irrigation, which is super innovative. So we don't want the other Cal Poly to one-up us with their Center for Sustainability. So Dennis, you can change to the next slide. Thank you for making the Cal Poly I'm an alumni from greener. I super appreciate it. Its projects, this is a quote from Kylie Singh and the Cal Poly Energy Utilities and Sustainability team. It's projects like the Gold Tree Solar Farm that define Dennis's innovative leadership In addition to his expertise in implementing these sorts of projects, he's also one of the most dedicated and passionate campus leaders. So thank you, Dennis. And we need people pushing the envelope on the Central Coast in any way they can, whether it's from within an organization, as a designer, as a builder. I think if we all work on it together, we can make it much better. So thank you. So with that, I'm going to pass it back over, I think, to Candace.
Thanks, Paul. So I'm going to honor the next two recipients, which are companies. And so the first one is RRM Design Group. And I had the privilege of working there for a number of years, as well as being mentored there by the great people that are still working there. So RM was founded in 1974 by 3 Cal Poly students. So, you know, they didn't go very far from campus to start their business. And they were so new, these 3 architects, that they actually had to ask their professor to actually stamp and sign their drawings because they were that young in the profession. You know, 45 years ago, you know, they started the company and it's grown and grown and matured in San Luis Obispo and throughout California, and really a champion of sustainability. Everything that they do, the work that they do, is really great. And you know, their landscape architects to their civil engineers and planners and architects all have this sustainability overlay and mindset, and so that shows in their work. You know, beautiful architecture is always sustainable at RRM Design Group. So thank you so much for your leadership, and I hope you enjoy your award. I don't think there's anybody there or here with us today from RRM that I can see, but I know that I delivered the award, and I hope they're putting in a place of honor. All right. The next company is Canon Corp, and Canon Corp is another San Luis Obispo firm. They are civil engineers, and actually engineers of all sorts, and they do a lot of infrastructure work and smart streets, and lots of projects where they're just doing great work with stormwater management and, you know, refilling our aquifers with, you know, clean water. So they have been working throughout the Central Coast in California on green streets and infrastructure, and like I said, recharging our groundwater. One of the things that they really do well, which is not on these slides, I think, but they started a campaign for clean water globally, and it's called Well Worth It. And they have been raising money for the last, I think, 10 years. And everything that they raise actually goes into building a well somewhere on the planet where they need clean water and somebody to help them achieve that. So that's why they're also receiving an award for sustainability. So you can see some of these projects that they're doing. They're everywhere, and they're helping with our sustainability. There we are with one of the guys from Canon receiving the award. So that's one of our wood etched awards for honorable merit. All right, with that, I'm gonna hand it off to Brandon.
Thank you, Candace. So the Industry Leadership Honor Award is going to the Ashkin Group. Steve Ashkin, who's the company founder, actually found me at Earth Day a few years back in Ventura and picked me to be one of his mentees, and he's been a fantastic influence in my life over the last few years. So great to see the Ashkin Group winning this award. You know, they've really been on the forefront as an industry leader in the green cleaning industry since the 1990s, really helping raise green cleaning and the green cleaning products, the policies that go along with it, standards, programs, really the influence of green cleaning on the world to, help supporting being about a third of the industry of cleaning products now. So it's no longer a niche, and I can't think of a more important time than now to be focused on cleaning, and as well as cleaning with the earth and people in mind. So, there's many reasons why the Ashkin Group should be recognized. And one being that Steve Ashkin has been involved in the U.S. Green Building Council and was really a pivotal individual that supported these satellite chapters, one being the Central Coast Green Building Council. So not only are we here to recognize the Ashkin Group and all they've done for green cleaning, but Steve Ashkin and everything that he's done for LEED and the industry as a whole. Oh yes, of course, and we couldn't give this award without recognizing Steve's work and authoring Green Cleaning for Dummies. There he is with Brian Johnson, who's actually a board member as well. They've been in the industry, moving the needle on green cleaning for a long time, and we're at the center of our efforts talking about green cleaning in a post-pandemic era. So thank you both for everything you've done. Okay, next we have our award for leading sustainable organizations. And this award goes to One Cool Earth. One Cool Earth is a local nonprofit dedicated to supporting meaningful outdoor education in the Central Coast, primarily for the youth. So thank you for doing that. This year, the organization under the leadership of Executive Director Dylan Jones has made school gardens a reality in 15 different county schools. So how fantastic is that? School garden education is so important. Sometimes the first interaction that students have with environmental topics and sustainability. They provide garden education to schools and support teachers in building lessons around different hands-on science activities, healthy food, student wellness, and are helping raise the next generation of sustainability leaders. Here's a picture of Dylan Jones at Laguna Middle School, where they built an herb garden. There's Dylan with the plaque that he received. So thank you, One Cool Earth, and Dylan and everyone that's involved in that organization. You guys are fantastic. The Educational Stewardship Honor Award goes to Ventura Green Schools program, and a program that I have had the honor of working with and supporting over the years in my employment at the city of Ventura. But this award really goes to Kelsey Hammond, who's the Green Schools program coordinator right now. The Green Schools program is a K through 12 outreach and education program in the city of Ventura that reaches 5,000+ students every year. It's pretty fantastic, the reach that this program offers. And I think one thing that makes it really unique is that it's run directly out of the City of Ventura Public Works Environmental Sustainability Division. One of the big efforts and benefits that this program has achieved is diverting food waste, either by composting on site or working with the local waste haulers to collect food scraps from lunch and make sure that it's getting diverted from the landfill. And since the inception of this program, they've achieved over 150 tons of food waste diverted from the landfill. So it's pretty fantastic. Another big achievement is working with Ventura Unified School District in removing plastic sport packets, the demise of cafeteria food, those little packets that you have, all the things wrapped in plastic. And so it's great to see, things that sometimes these achievements take a long time to implement in these larger institutions. So it's great to see those improvements being made. And share tables and everything else. There's so many small achievements that have been celebrated over the years, and many different educators. There's a picture of me working with an Enviroscape. Working with kids it's like one of the, it's a real blessing, and they get this stuff, right? Us old folks, we're like trying to educate the kids, and like really they're the ones telling us about how things should be. So it's a two-way street. These programs are really fantastic, providing education to kids and inspiring them to step up in their own lives and in their communities. So thank you, Kelsey, and the City of Ventura for all the work that you've done. Okay, and for the Educational Stewardship Honorable Merit Award goes to Amanda Shear. She is an educator in the NEED science lessons, which is hands-on energy science lessons at schools. She helped lead and coordinate the CCGBC Green Schools program for many years, primarily working in San Luis Obispo County, where she helped schools apply for the Green Ribbon grants and awards, and helped carry out low impact development, school garden programs, waste management, and so much more. Students really enjoy her lessons and look forward to her hands-on, inquiry-based education programs. She brings many different unique materials into the classrooms and really gets students thinking about sustainability in new ways. UV paper is one big one where she does solar imprints and creates solar beads to make color changing bracelets. Like, how exciting is that? Every little kid's dream, right? But she not only positively influences students in the schools, but has also impacted the community in so many great ways. Just another amazing person that has dedicated their lives to supporting the next generation and inspiring students to consider how they can make a positive impact on their community and help build more sustainable environments. And just want to say thank you, Amanda, for all that you've done and for really doing an honorable job of helping educate students. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for presenting those awards, Brandon and Paul and Candace. And it's time to take a 5-minute break. Wesley is going to play us serenade some music. Serenade us some music. And and if you'd like, it's a good time to go and place another bid. Check out the silent auction. The link is in the chat. And I'm gonna take it off of screen sharing so you can see what new faces have joined us during this event, during those presentations while I was frantically figuring out how to get people on. Hit it, Wes.
So this is a song I wrote, just kind of going through some stuff in life and just kind of realizing, you know, what's the most important things in life, right? And so it's kind of like a deeper meaning song, if you will, but it's kind of simple at the same time. Had a dream last night, was floating through the sky with an open mind. Everything felt right until I was left with my own demise. And there I met a friend. Gary was his name, and he was insane, but he led me right to my path. Singing, you tell me what you want, I'll give you what you need. Life's an opportunity, you better seize. Sometimes the whole world crashes down, leave leaving you 10 feet off the ground. But your honest mistake was the one you made. They left you upside down. So get those feet back on the ground. Your demons and angels, they sit around my table, asking about my future and my past. They all looked to me when I began to speak. What the hell is this? Where's the facts? They said, you tell us what you want, we'll give you what you need. That's an opportunity you better seize. Sometimes the whole world crashes down, leaving you 10 feet off the ground. But your honest mistake was the one you made. They left you upside down. So get those feet back on the ground. And don't forget to turn around. Say hello and love your love goes round. Go on flow and see your heart get old. You guys want me to share another song, or do you want to jump into your next segment?
You got a couple minutes here, Wes. I want to keep hearing you playing. Maybe it's just selfish of me.
All right, let's pull the guitar in here. This little guitar piece here. Let's see what we got. Yeah. So there is this song here that I wrote. It's a classic breakup song, but you know what? It's a positive breakup song because you have somebody in your life for so long, right? You spend so much time, so much intimate time with them, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's over, right? But then you're like, wait a minute. There was so much good that happened then, right? So this is kind of like it's like a send off to that, if you will. I woke up from my sleep, expecting you next to me. I saw that you weren't there, just a strand of your hair. It made me kind of sad, but decided I was glad. All the fun that we have had and the memories of our past. Here's to you, my friend. It's all that you have been. It was real, not pretend. Here's to you, my friend. All the adventures that we had, where we lived, loved, and laughed. And I blame you for all the good, and never for the bad. And I love that we would laugh, never were so sad. Here's to you, my friend, it's all you have been. It was real, not pretend. I know our hearts moved on, I will always remember that. You will always be my friend, even through the end. Here's to you, my friend, it's all that you have been. It was real, not pretend. Here's to you, my friend, all the adventures that we had. It was real, not pretend. And we lived, loved, and laughed. It was real, not pretend. Though our hearts move on, I will always remember that you'll always be my friend, even through the end. So when you wake up from your sleep, I hope you're thinking about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Wes. I appreciate you. It's been awesome to watch you flower as a musician.
Thank you so
Your
much.
music is
I just
amazing.
uploaded the link. I just came out with a single, and on the next break, I'll play the single that I just came out with. But I just sent a link to the music video if anybody's interested in watching it.
Awesome. And just to give you another high five and a plug, Wes donated. He's also a personal trainer, and he donated a couple sessions that are on the silent auction. So not only is he a great musician, but he can get your booty in gear. So take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah,
interested.
I'm super stoked. Anybody that wants to bid on those would be great. I've been a trainer in town for over a decade, and I'm here to help. Thanks for the opportunity, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you, Wes.
Thank you so much, Wes. So yeah, let's keep going with our awards. I hope you can hear me better now. Do I sound better without my headphones? Sorry for breaking your ears before. Like, I'm getting all these messages. So just wanted to test that out before I hand it off to Candace to start with our project awards. And I will share my screen now.
All right. So the project awards. Well, so we've been doing these project awards since 2010, which is pretty amazing to think about. So it's been 10 years since we did the first Green Awards program. And I had to actually go back and look at some older documents, and that was kind of fun because what I discovered was we've actually celebrated 143 awards over the, or projects, I should say, over the last 10 years. And today, super exciting to add to that number. So we have a number of great awards to give out. And the categories, you know, range from landscape to new builds to educational facilities to renovations. And, you know, and looking at our history, we've given awards to, you know, companies who are championing sustainability and are touching, you know, projects in a different way. And so it's really great when you see, you know, projects come through, but also, you know, some years we've had some great innovation projects as well that really deserve to be celebrated. A good number of these are LEED certified projects, but they don't have to be. Sustainability is the key to what we're looking for and what we want to celebrate. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to John.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Excited to be here. Unfortunately, my colleagues in judging were not able to join today, but I have the pleasure of announcing a few awards, and then I'll share the rest with others from the CCGBC Board of Directors. Can everyone hear me okay? Cool.
Yes.
So, it's been quite a while since we reviewed these applications. So luckily we were smart enough to write down what I hope will be some well-received, thoughtful comments. So the first awards category for projects was under the Green Homes category. And you'll note as I go through this that we, for the most part, have a winner and then an honorable mention. So the first one is an Allen construction project in Ojai, and it's the El Toro, I thought it was in Ojai, it might be in Santa Barbara, sorry, El Toro residence. And here's what we wrote about it. Without being directly involved in the project, it's hard to imagine the massive effort that was necessary to completely upgrade and restore a century-old home, and to do so with nearly complete historical preservation and holistic environmental sustainability in mind. We'd like to congratulate the owner and the project team for their particular focus on material use, on permaculture, on waste reduction and diversion, on water efficiency and conservation, on heat pump technologies, which is particularly near and dear my heart as an energy efficiency nerd, and solar, and so much more. Congratulations to El Toro. There's a few more slides here. We can spend a couple minutes, a couple seconds on them. I think each one has about 3 slides that you can advance through, Bree. It's pretty cool. I'm a bit biased here, coming from the East Coast. You know, I think I'm incorrectly biased in thinking that everything here is pretty new. So this was an exciting project for me to truly see such an old structure and to see the extensive work that really needed to go into bringing it back to life in a sustainable way. Cool project. Okay. I also want to just quickly give an honorable mention to another project that was submitted in the Green Homes category. This is our Honorable Merit Award, and it goes to the Watershed Passive House. This is a project located in Cayucas. I actually have the pleasure of biking by it frequently on my rides up Old Creek Road. Cool project. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to Sam's and Company. There's a theme here that you'll notice, and it was certainly the case for the people that were awarded as well. This was one of the most challenging things I've done professionally in a long time. It's remarkable how amazing the industry leaders are that are working in this space on the Central Coast, both in terms of the individuals and organizations, as well as the super cool projects that folks are working on. Very, very challenging. Okay. I don't want to rush this, so I'll let you dictate the pace, Bree.
All right. Samantha and I are going to switch sharing screens. So I think you'll be able to see the info a little bit better when she shares it.
Okay. Is that better for everyone? Yeah, that seems much better.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
All right, so now can get us back to the next project after this one, Samantha.
The high performance building and green building nerd in me really wants to just hang out on each of these slides and tell you every last detail of these projects, but we know the drill.
Good to go here?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So the next category that Alelia and I worked on was the green landscape category, and the honor award, bear with me one moment. Goes to a project that was submitted by Madrone Landscapes. And I don't want to embarrass myself here and say, I don't know the exact proper pronunciation, but I will say Pate for now. Maybe somebody can correct me, residents. Same project we just actually talked about under the honorable mention in the Green Homes Award in Cayucas. The project team should be celebrated not only for their elegant landscaping design, but for their significant efforts to minimize site disturbance and tree removal to use, and this is really remarkable, 100% native and drought tolerant plants, and even better yet, to source all plants from within a 50-mile radius. The integration of smart irrigation and rain sensor technology and the use of exterior LED lighting powered by solar and a home battery system is also especially noteworthy. Congratulations to the owner, to Madrone Landscapes, and to this very cool project in Cayucas. Okay. So as I've mentioned, super challenging. We actually, I think this was the first time in the green landscape category, we actually had a tie with another great project. We just couldn't figure out which one was more sustainable. And I'll admit my expertise and background is not in landscape design, but I'll tell you a few remarkable things about this project. This is the Skyview Los Alamos project. I think many of you are familiar with it. This project involved a total re-envisioning of over 15,000 square feet of central courtyard space that you can see in the project, see in the slide here. Kudos to this team for its inclusion of rain chains for water capture, considerable conversion of pervious to impervious area, their use of water sensing equipment, and the considerable sourcing of local planting materials as a part of this project. You can see in some of these images. Really, really cool project. I've had the pleasure of seeing it. Encourage everyone else to do it as well. Nice to see old properties come back to life. Okay, the next category was the green schools category. I had to do a little bit of practice this morning on my pronunciation. We'll see how badly I do on this one. This is a project that was submitted by or on behalf of Cal Poly. This is their new dorm project that many of you have probably seen off Grand Avenue, the Yakichuchu Cal Poly community. We wanted to like to applaud Cal Poly for designing and developing a 500 million square foot residential community that is zero net energy through the use of extensive energy efficiency and a 1.1 megawatt rooftop and carport solar installations. Moreover, this low impact development project manages stormwater on site. It's informed by Cal Poly and City of San Luis Obispo climate action plans. It integrates education and teaching labs, and it reduces on-site vehicle parking and traffic. We'd like to applaud the efforts, Cal Poly's efforts to build low-income development, zero net energy, and LEED Gold. Congratulations. I think there was one other one before this. I don't know if there's a slide for it or not, for the Cal Poly Cave Studio bench projects. Is there?
Yeah, so I changed the order. I didn't realize that it was in that order. It's actually at the last slide at the moment, or the last order.
Hey, I'll roll with it, Bree, and then
Why don't we just go back
John.
to it, John? Sorry about that.
Yeah.
No worries. Perfect. Go for it, Paul.
Okay,
Thank
so
you
go
all.
back a couple of slides at the beginning of this one. So this project's pretty interesting. This is for Direct Relief International. So they're a big emergency response company that gets things together, and they actually put in a very, very large power generation facility and a bunch of Tesla batteries so they could operate off the grid for 6 months in the event of a major disaster where power's interrupted. And there's a lot of approvals that had to go into getting that as the first permitted microgrid in the United States that's not part of a utility company. So it's a very cool project in Goleta, California, very huge too, 155,000 square feet, LEED silver. So the project team championed the use of traditional, historically correct forms and materials, a tall order for a building of this magnitude and stature. Site landscaping provides an abundant, drought-tolerant, and biodiverse backdrop that equally complements architectural elements and provides a much-needed avenue for infiltration and aquifer replenishment. So the company's purpose and function is to operate seamlessly in the event of a disaster, regardless of outside impact and influence, and to be resilient to disasters. So what better way than to have a building that can provide and generate its own energy on site? We must congratulate all the parties involved for the leadership, inspiration, impact, and stewardship to create ongoing change towards sustainable development. So the design team was Michael Holliday and DMHA Architecture Design, and the landscape architect was Courtney at CJM Landscape Architecture. Tri-County Office Furniture did the furniture. Arco Design and Build was the contractor, and the rest of the design team is on the previous slide. But they did a great job. Congratulations, Michael and DHMA Architecture and Interior Design. A great job. Okay, the next project is Bishop Street Studios. And the Bishop Street Studios are, this is an honorable merit for green new construction. Affordable housing development with 34 housing units, 33 very low income, single occupancy studios, and 1 bedrooms for independent living mental health residents. So they restored an existing 2-story brick building and added some new construction to create this 3-building complex. The original building was built in 1932 as an orphanage and later served as the basis for this remodel project. So here's the 2-story part in the back that was remodeled, and the new buildings in the front. They have high performance walls, roofs, furring mass, R19 insulation, R38 insulation at the roof. They save a ton of water, and a very green design project. And beautiful. Bishop Street sounds like it's in San Luis Obispo, would be what I would assume. Tenover Studio was the project architect out of San Luis, and definitely a very beautiful project. JW Design and Construction was the contractor, great builder. Currently working on a couple projects with them as well. Landscape architect, Firma Consultants, structural engineer, SSG Engineering, mechanical, 3C Engineering, Inc., Toma Electric out of SLO, civil engineering, Ashley Vance. They have offices in San Luis and in Santa Barbara. And commissioning was Paul Dunn. So nicely done and beautiful project. So congratulations to the team at Tenover Studio who sent in the project application and all the other consultants and projects involved. It's certainly a beautiful project, and it's great to maintain the embodied energy in a used structure like that and give it a new use. So adaptive reuse is awesome. That's the place I've actually been in San Luis Obispo. This is Tenover Studio's own office. Beautiful little building that they've done on Lower Marsh. So 4,275 square foot interior TI of an old gas station building, converting it into usable office space. They're the first certified green business B Corp in SLO. And definitely the office is behind green principles, and a lot of their work is very green and cutting edge. So they used all kinds of recycled materials, repurposed furnishings, sustainable and local products. And they design green products in a building built with green products. It's awesome. Interior and exterior wall paneling was sourced from sustainable resources and was purchased from local businesses. All specified wood is FSC certified, sourced sustainably. The carpeting is composed of 90% recycled content, and the existing concrete slab was thoughtfully exposed and polished in certain areas as the finished material. They have recycled Corten paneling, and beautiful office, opens to the outside. Definitely a nice creative space to work. As an architect, I'm envious. Candace saw my office. Congratulations to the project team, 10 Over Architects. Really, really a beautiful place. And that was the Green Renovation Honor Award. And then we have the Green Renovation Honorable Merit Award. This is for Contraband Coffee Bar in San Francisco. The beautifully artistic cafe extends the notion that total design is alive and well. The design team concentrated on every last millimeter of the space, from the architecture to the furniture, to the art that adorns the walls. The design team worked closely with the fabricators who found urban trees that had fallen naturally. They milled them down to beautiful slabs, working around dry rot and other damage to the wood to create beautiful live edge communal tables and smaller intimate tables. The live edge window bar, as well as the espresso maker plinth and other surfaces, are made out of the live edge wood. It's a beautiful interior. Looks like it's downtown San Francisco. In the Soma district, 960 square feet. The most important attribute for the energy savings is a double height storefront glazing facing south and east, which provides exemplary natural daylighting for the entirety of the daylight hours. The principal ventilation strategy is from operable windows and clear stories for cross ventilation and stack ventilation. They had the fallen trees to make the countertops, which is great, reclaiming those. I know we have a lot of resources on the Central Coast available to us. And 100% of the construction waste was diverted from either reused or recycled, so diverted from the landfill. The architect was Design M. Ome Tom DeSanto and 450 Architects. The contractor was Appetite for Construction. The additional team members were Deadwood Revival Design, Live Edge Furniture and Casework Fabrication. Coco Claire Olson did the wall art design and fabrication. And congratulations to Tom DeSanto and 450 Architects who designed the interior. Looks like a cool place to have a coffee. Here we go, John.
All right. Thanks, Paul. That was awesome. Okay. This one's a fun one for a wide variety of reasons. This is a Green Innovation Honor Award that was submitted by a group of Cal Poly engineering and architecture students with support by Professor Jonathan Reich. This is the Cave Studio Bench project. Kudos to this dedicated group of architecture and engineering students to conceptualize, advocate, fundraise, design, and build this innovative project. We appreciate the use of sustainable design and materials and the integration of shading, LED lighting, and solar PV for powering plug-in devices. The use of formerly unused or unattractive campus spaces that I think you've seen in the photos is especially noteworthy. By integrating education, this team and this project embodies Cal Poly's philosophy of learn by doing. I guess one of the things that I think we all can appreciate about this project is above and beyond what was actually tangibly done is sort of the red tape and process and persistence that must have been navigated by this group of students to actually make this project happen. And super cool that it all came to fruition in the way that they embodied sustainability principles throughout. Congratulations.
Right. Wow, that was all of the awards for, well, almost all of the awards for the day, but there's a couple more, the presidential awards. But before that, we'll take a break and listen to some more music from Wesley. And if you'd like, feel free to hop on the silent auction site and check and see if anyone's outbid you. And Wesley, are you here?
Apologize about that. You guys there?
Yep.
Okay, this is a song I'm actually working on right now. It's not quite complete, but you get the idea. It's all about expectations we have for ourselves. It's kind of how I see the world. Everybody wants to be somebody so that in the end they live their lives knowing they didn't live it pretend. 'Cause everybody wants to be that person that's better than they are, trying to hide the scrapes, the bruises, now the love-torn scars. Everybody wants to have someone they can love and hold, somebody they can turn to when they grow old. Everybody wants to see their future burning so bright, but tomorrow's not guaranteed, not even this good night. Everybody wants to be so free. Everybody wants to be, everybody wants to be so free. So let it stew, you and me. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Wes. That was beautiful.
Okay.
One more, you guys ready to do your?
Let me look at the time real quick. I think it's time to start the presidential awards, but Wes, are you going to join us for one more song at the end, or do you have to leave before?
I'll be here. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, great. I'd love to hear one more or a couple more at the closing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so Brendan, I will share my screen for the presidential awards. Let's see.
All right, thank you, Bree.
So,
yeah, so the presidential awards, what a gift to be able to just select some projects and people from my life, which is interesting. You know, I'm a green building educator. I'm not an architect or a builder or a consultant per se. So this was a unique opportunity for me. And when I was thinking about the one person that I felt like deserved this award, I came to think about all of the people that are behind the scenes, and maybe not the folks that are in the limelight, people that really are helping move and progress sustainability, that may not get the recognition. And so the individual that came to mind was Eric Zimmerman. And so for those of you who are in Santa Barbara or have been involved with UC Santa Barbara, likely have seen Eric's name pop up if you've been involved in the anniversary of the oil spill or the anniversary of the environmental studies program at UCSB. You've seen or have come across Eric Zimmerman. He is the Student Affairs Manager and Intern Director for UCSB's Environmental Studies Department. Truly an unsung hero of the environmental movement, definitely at a national level. There's been literally thousands of students that have come through Eric's office who are asking for support on their first internship, or how to get their job, or how to navigate school, or get into the sustainability world. And I know for me, when I was a student at UCSB, he was pivotal in helping me get into the environmental studies department, helping expose me to what the possibilities were for a career in not just green building, but sustainability as a whole. Eric is involved in so many different things. He does photography as well as supporting students. And so he's been working in this position for 25 years, and just another person who's dedicated their life to supporting the next generation. So Eric, thank you, thank you, thank you. I got to deliver this award yesterday, or it was either Thursday or Friday, and I got to watch him unveil it, open it out of the package, and just to see his face light up and the appreciation for receiving this award, it really warmed my heart. And just grateful to know Eric, and grateful to celebrate all of the hard work that he's done behind the scenes to support really all that we do, and making sure that this movement is continuing to grow and grow. So thank you, Eric. And then next we have our Green Advocacy Leader Presidential Awards. And you know, so far we've seen some really cool, innovative projects, a lot of modern design, and sustainability, when you think about it, is really a forward-thinking mentality. And as I mentioned, the U.S. Green Building Council has done such an amazing job of helping evolve building codes to be more sustainable, to almost to require more sustainability. And I think it's also important, especially as the Green Building Council, to recognize older practices, you know, that maybe have gone to the wayside, and honestly, in some cases where building codes struggle to approve these types of projects. So, you know, Quail Springs has been around for 15 plus years. They're in Cuyama Valley, an organization that's really focused on educating people about permaculture, and particularly cob building, which I really hope that we see resurgence of cob building in the near future. There's so many environmental and human health benefits, not to mention being a possibility for mitigating the spread of wildfire throughout our community. Quail Springs is at the forefront of advocating for sustainable materials in buildings. I mean, it doesn't take much more than some mud, some straw, and some elbow grease to make a building, and one that is beautiful and has, you know, more curvature, more character, non-toxic, non-combustible. And, you know, in addition to all the other energy efficiency and new materials, I think it's important that we recognize, you know, where sustainability has come from and kind of has always been there. And Quail Springs is helping approve the new model for cob buildings and helping educate people about these old practices and how they can be implemented in a modern world. So check out what they're doing. Get involved with Quail Springs. I hope that the Central Coast Green Building Council can stand hand in hand with Quail Springs in the future and support each other and helping educate our communities about the benefits of cob building and alternative building materials. But just grateful to be in connection with Quail Springs and just to celebrate and support the hard work that they're putting in. So thank you, Quail Springs, for everything you've done and for everyone who's been involved in all the work that they're doing. All right, and I think it's time for our keynote speaker, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Yes. I will stop sharing my screen so that Chris can hop on. Actually, I need to make him. Where are you, Chris? There you are.
I'm here, and I need
Brandon,
permission.
can you make Chris Magwood the host so he can share his presentation?
All right, should be a co-host now, Chris.
Great, yep, that looks like it's working. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna roll right in. Is that the plan?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for inviting me to do this. I have a lot of good friends and good colleagues in your part of the world, including some of the folks at Quail Springs. So a hearty congratulations to them. That I know, having worked on code work up here in Canada, it's a long and often thankless task, and so it's great to see them getting some thanks at the end of that process. And congratulations. That's a huge milestone that I hope, you know, helps bring that material and that approach into a more accessible place moving forward. I am going to take my 15 or 20 minutes with all of you today to talk about the work that I've been doing on buildings and climate change. And I know these things usually start with a professional introduction where I tell you all the things that I've done as a designer and builder and all of that. But I really want to start today by just you know, introducing myself as a person, as a father, an uncle, a friend, a son. I do a lot of teaching, so I spend a lot of my time in that role. And you know, yes, I'm a builder, and so my climate action has to do with buildings, but I feel really motivated to do that climate work in the building field because of all these people in my life and because of my real desire to do whatever I can to make the building or to make the planet a habitable place for all of these people. And it really has, you know, taken seeing myself as a climate activist in my profession to really change how I approach it. And I guess what I'm here to do today is to see if I can convince a few more people in the building world to see themselves that way. So, in addition to being motivated by the people close to me, I'm certainly feeling the words of lots of, especially the young climate activists who really are not giving us any sort of fudge room anymore. You know, it's time for anybody who has any position, any role where you can be having a positive impact on the climate to do that. And I think, you know, the words of these two young women, along with so many others, clear that there are no more excuses and there is no more time. So let's get to it. So what I want to do very briefly is, you know, talk about why we in the building world need to be doing this. And it's because we're responsible for about half of the planet's fossil fuel emissions. And, you know, over the past quarter century, there has been a lot of work done to try to address the building operations side of the emissions puzzle, and hardly anything on the materials side. And that's really where I'm going to give my focus today, because as that building operations piece shrinks, it's possible that this other piece, the materials piece, either gets bigger or doesn't shrink, in which case we won't really have done our due diligence on the climate. So, you know, we all need to be climate activists to do this, and all of our buildings need to have net zero operational emissions as soon as possible. And I think, you know, there is quite a movement towards that now, and lots of people, you know, spending a lot of their time and effort trying to get us there. And I commend all of those folks, and you know, would count myself among the people who've been doing that over the course of my career. But all our buildings also need to have net zero material emissions. If there is 20% of the planet's fossil fuel emissions going into the atmosphere to make buildings, to make net zero buildings, it's not going to get us to the no emissions place we need to be in the next few decades. And what's really exciting to me, and it's part of why, you know, seeing Quail Springs getting COB into the building code is exciting, because there are a whole bunch of materials out there, a whole palette of materials that can not only bring the material side emissions down to zero, but can actually make them draw down buildings or net negative buildings where the building actually offers carbon storage. And that's kind of where I'm going to spend the next few minutes with you, kind of showing you a bit about that. So I'm really focusing right now on material emissions. So the product phase of a life cycle assessment, the extraction, transportation, and manufacturing. Obviously, there is a whole, you know, life cycle to these building materials and the whole buildings themselves. But I'm focusing on the cradle to gate emissions. They are representing, again, it depends on the material and the building, but somewhere usually between 70 to 80% of the full life cycle emissions of that building. So it's by far the largest piece of that emissions profile. And all of those emissions end up in the atmosphere, you know, on opening day of that new building or that renovated building. So there's no way to taper that down over time or mitigate it later on. It's happening right now. So if, you know, 70 to 80% of the emissions from the products are in the atmosphere right now, that's really where I think we need to be putting our focus. And depending on the type of building and where it is, and in particular how energy efficient that building is, those material emissions are going to be somewhere between 50 to 80% of all the emissions from that building over the first few decades. So obviously, the more energy efficient we make them, or the more carbon efficient we make them, the longer the time span that the building material emissions are going to represent a huge slice of that. So as we drive towards net zero, if we actually make a net zero building, that basically means that 100% or very close to 100% of the emissions from that building are all going to be from the materials. So we'll put some attention there. And in particular, there's lots starting to come out. I would, direct you to check out the Carbon Leadership Forum and their EC3 tool. There's lots happening to look at some of the materials that are more conventional and looking at making sort of lower carbon versions of existing materials. And that's great. We need to do that. What I want to do today is sort of draw your attention to the biogenic materials, the ones that are able to actually act as a carbon sink or give a building carbon storage. And they do that by being based on plants, which are the carbon drawdown machines of the planet. As we have all kinds of great minds working on trying to figure out machines that will suck CO2 out of the atmosphere and turn it into something useful. Plants are doing that very well and very abundantly, with the great side benefit of giving us oxygen to breathe. So, that amount of carbon drawdown is happening on a vast scale every year on the planet. So if we are focusing on biogenic building materials, that could be timber, it could be cork, it could be straw, it could be hemp, it could be any number of great materials for incorporating into buildings. When we take those materials and turn them into actual building materials, there will be some emissions from manufacturing and harvesting, but they tend to be quite small because there's not a huge amount of transformation that needs to happen to those plant materials, very little heating and beating to turn them into materials. So what we end up with is materials that have net carbon storage. So if you're thinking about the carbon footprint of your building being a sort of balance sheet, all the materials that would have emissions, your windows and your steel and your concrete and those sorts of things, are positive numbers, they're adding up. And so these materials are offering carbon storage, so they're sort of negative numbers that are bringing that down. And so what that looks like sort of graphically is during the material phase, there's usually a small burst of emissions when we plant, intentionally plant something. And then while those plants grow, there's a whole bunch of photosynthetic drawdown. So CO2 coming out of the atmosphere and into the plant and basically building the body of the plant. And the time span that we're looking at here could be anything from a few months for an annual grain crop to many decades for a large tree. But whether it's a short or a long cycle plant, there's all this drawdown that happens. And so when we harvest that plant, there is less CO2 in the atmosphere than there was, well, it has taken CO2 out of the atmosphere and provided that drawdown. And then what happens is we sort of go through the process of turning that into a building material and building the building. But as long as that amount of emissions doesn't overwhelm the initial carbon storage for that plant, you sort of have this period of time that the building is in existence where that carbon is now stored. It's not going back to the atmosphere as it might have done or likely would have done if that plant had sort of gone through its natural cycle. We're sort of withholding that return to the atmosphere for the lifespan of the building. And clearly the longer that lifespan, the more meaningful that carbon storage. And then at the end of life, there's a bunch of paths that carbon could take. It could be reused, recycled, turned into biochar, turned into combined heat and power, could be landfilled, or worst case scenario, it's landfilled and rots and the methane is released. But if we think smartly about the end of life, that we can keep that carbon out of circulation for even longer. But in this chunk of time that we have to really deal with climate change, which is sort of represented by that building lifespan, the typical building, whether you want to call it a 30-year building or a 60-year building or a 100-year building, that lifespan contains the amount of time we have to really address. And by putting biogenic materials in the building, we put that carbon away for that chunk of time at least. And that looks really different than the sort of emissions profile of any other material, where the harvesting, manufacturing, transportation, construction all result in emissions. So you have this, quite large split between materials that have emissions associated with them and materials that are meaningfully storing carbon over the lifespan of the building. So I'm going to now show you some results of some studies that I've worked on here. This was looking at a 4-story, 8-unit, 10,000 square foot residential building up here in Ontario, Canada. So basically the exact same building built with a bunch of different collections of materials. So if I built with the materials that had the highest carbon footprint in their category, that one building would have 240 odd kilograms of emissions per meter squared. I could switch to lower carbon, sort of more conventional materials and make a significant dent in that. I could get that down to 90 kilograms, but I could also use a series of materials that are affordable, available, and currently, code compliant and quite accessible to builders at this scale, and actually get that building so that it's pretty close to zero, in this case, just under zero. So offering a little bit of net carbon storage overall. And I could also use sort of the best possible mix of carbon storing materials in that building and get it down to storing over 130 kilograms of CO2 per square meter. So, there's this huge range of potential. The owners wouldn't notice really anything different about this building. It's going to be just as energy efficient in all 4 of these versions. It's going to cost about the same in all 4 of these versions, but its emissions profile is going to be radically different from either, having a huge contribution to climate change or actually being a climate reverser or a climate change reverser. So that's, one building. Okay, sure. There's a few hundred tons of carbon either stored or not. But if we look at spreading that out over all US low-rise construction that you could build with those that mix of materials, you either get low-rise construction in the US contributing about 54 million tons of emissions annually, or the equivalent of about 15 coal-fired power plants for a year. Or if we can flip things around and start actually making buildings as carbon sinks, then we would not only not emit those 54 million tons, but we would additional 36 million tons, which is like taking the emissions of 10 coal plants out of the atmosphere on an annual basis. So if every year that we're building homes in the United States, if we can literally be vacuuming up the emissions from 10 coal plants per year, it doesn't start to take too long where that starts to make a real difference in what's going on with the climate. And in fact, what happens is, the whole low-rise building sector becomes climate heroes. We stop doing the thing that's causing climate change and we start doing the thing that actually starts to fix the climate. On the larger side of things, if we look at the retrofits, the energy efficiency retrofits of commercial buildings and Merbs, this is a study I did with the City of Toronto up here. They were looking at insulating their existing building stock and sort of coming up with incentives to get people to do that. And so I did an emissions model for them of the way that they were recommending to do that. And it turns out that for every meter squared of area of a building, wall area, that there would be 45 kilograms of emissions. We could change the material palette for that and get it so that that same R value is being achieved while storing 20 kilograms of CO2 per meter squared. And again, those numbers don't seem very big when you look at them per meter squared, but how many millions of square meters of this work needs to be done if we're going to meet the energy efficiency targets that most people are saying we need to hit? I know here in Canada, our government just announced a huge retrofit policy, and that retrofit policy can either cause another 40, 50 million tons of emissions to go into the atmosphere if we just throw whatever material we want at those buildings to try to bring the operational emissions down, or you can get that same operational benefit and store 20, 30, however many millions of tons we have basically to cover up. So the 1 million square meters is just the buildings that the city of Toronto is targeting in the first few years of its program. So, you know, worldwide, North America wide, there are literally, you know, tens to hundreds of millions of square meters of building that needs to be retrofit in this way. And here's a chance for, you know, that sector to also become the climate heroes. And the last study is looking at large building interiors. So this was a redo when a new business took over a floor of a building. So this is a 280 square meter floor of a multi-story building. And they sort of shared with me what their plans for doing this retrofit were. And they were going to be about 90 kilograms per square meter of emission for their business as usual case. And we looked at being able to adjust that so that all the same functionality was there, the same R values, the same durability, but getting it to 130 kilograms of storage. And again, just like with the retrofits, you know, how many, you know, millions of square meters of that type of client improvement or tenant improvement and retrofit work gets done? Millions of square meters of this gets done every year. And so again, you know, we could either be driving climate change by you know, following business as usual, or really putting our minds to how do we get carbon stored in the built environment and help this sector also become climate heroes. So, you know, I'm hoping there's a lot more to those studies. I would, you know, be glad to talk to people afterwards, or you can check out the work we're doing at Builders for Climate Action and the Endeavor Center and lots of other places like the Carbon Leadership Forum. But, you know, the building sector is nothing if not full of smart and creative people who rise to challenges all the time. And in terms of the kind of challenges that we typically face, figuring out how to put a bunch of biogenic material into your building isn't actually that big a challenge. And you know, it's not that the whole building needs to be made out of those materials. It's a balance. But you know, the more you can actively think about how can I turn this building into a carbon sink, the faster we'll get to the place where the entire built environment becomes basically the planet's 6th major carbon sink worldwide. And I'd sort of encourage you to think about this as a progression. So you don't, you know, most people aren't going to be able to jump from business as usual to making carbon storing monster buildings right away, but there is a real progression that you can follow. You can simply stop doing the worst things for the climate right away. There are lots of conventional materials to transition to that have sort of a lower, more moderate carbon footprint. There are a lot of accessible zero carbon or carbon storing materials on the market right now. And then, you know, think, you know, strategically about building your way to a place where your buildings will eventually end up in the realm of having net carbon storage. So that was quick and fast, but I hope you know, gave you some food for thought. Again, I would encourage you to check out Builders for Climate Action and Endeavor Center. We have lots of case studies on those websites of buildings that are currently carbon storing buildings on the small scale and the large scale. And I really sort of want to thank the organizers for the opportunity to address everybody here today. And I wish you all well, and hope to see you at the opening of your next carbon storing building sometime in the near future.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris. Yeah, that was a really inspiring presentation, and just to shed the light on the importance of materials. Yes, it's essential. I have a lot of questions, but I'm sure others do, and unfortunately we don't have time to take them. Just have a conversation about it right now, but I'm wondering if people send you send me questions in the chat, if you can answer them offline, and then I can follow up with an email to everyone.
Sure, yeah, no problem.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Brandon, would you like to do kind of our closing? I can help you out. We can tag team it.
And I've been watching the numbers bob up and down from like 30 to 35 people. I just want to say how grateful I am that all of you took a moment out of your weekend to spend some time with us and celebrate the amazing people and the amazing projects that make the South Central Coast so special. The green building industry is really important to me. And with all of your support and participation, we can continue the momentum. We can continue educating people about sustainable building materials, about energy efficiency, about renewables, about the power of soil, about the power of people. And hopefully we can increase the accessibility of sustainability to more people, not just the privileged few, but to the masses. And that's really what the Central Coast Green Building Council stands for. And I think that social equity is really something that we as professionals can focus on a little bit more. And so I hope you'll stand with all of us in the efforts to continue educating, to continue advocating for these things at the state and national level, and to continue celebrating all of the great work that everyone is doing to move the needle, even just a little bit, right? A lot of the adding up all the small actions that we all do does have a big impact. And I'm grateful even just to be in the presence of all of you who have dedicated your lives to making this work a reality, and look forward to celebrating again in either next year or the next couple of years as we do our Green Awards the next time around. So again, thank you all for being here. The silent auction will be open for a little bit longer, so if you haven't gotten a chance to jump on there, please do. That's a big way of how we're going to raise a little bit of money for this effort, and so we can continue to do the work that we do as a nonprofit. And Wes, if you're around, I'd love to hear a song or two to send us all off.
Sounds good, Brandon. Absolutely. This song is called Home. It actually just releases. So musician-wise, I do this for fun. This is my outlet. This is my, I've been doing this for quite a few years, just playing music, but I finally decided to get out of my shell and start sharing it a little bit more, and it's been fun. And so I released this song on Spotify, and it's on Apple Music too. I'll send a link in the thing there if you want to check it out. The song is called Home.
There's a place where I go called home. Mama's cooking fills the air, brothers, sisters everywhere is home. There's a place where I go called home. Children playing in the streets, family gathered, all to eat is home. As I go home, it's where I belong. As I go home, it's where I belong. There's a place where I go called home. Lovers standing at the door, babies crawling on the floor is home. There's a place where I go called home. You're growing up before my eyes, older than I realized it's home. As I go home, it's where I belong. As I go home, it's where I belong. As I go home, it's where I belong. It's been so long since I've been home, as I wanna know, does it feel the same without you calling my name down the hall? Does it even feel like home to me? I know I go home, that's where I belong. Home is where the heart is, where it all started. Everything you know is everything you do. Home is there with you. As I go home, so I belong. As I go home, so I belong. There's a place where I go called home. Saying all my last goodbyes, wipe those tears from your eyes, 'cause I'm going home. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good Saturday.
Wonderful.
Great event.
Thank you
Guys,
so
you guys
much.
can
Hi,
end it whenever you
Karen.
want. I'm just gonna keep playing.
Bye. Great presentation. It was really good.
Awesome. Well, everybody, Bree, you pulled it together. This is inspirational. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye,
I
everybody.
taste the world with my eyes. When I can't taste, I'm colorblind. Ooh, and I'm feeling alright. Then I'm doing just fine. Seeing my world colorblind. Some people change the world, others stand to the side, looking through the hypnotized eyes. I wanna do it right, don't wanna wait till I waiting to be hypnotized. Ooh, and I'm doing alright. And I'm doing just fine now that I realize. When I close my eyes, I see my world not in black and white. The colors that run through my mind, they are my design, it is my life. Ooh, and I'm feeling alright. And I'm doing just fine now that I've seen the light. Walked in the room full of life. Everybody's talking with their eyes. Ooh, and I'm feeling alright. And I'm doing just fine now that I've got the light. Boom. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you, everybody who stayed on.
So awesome, Wes. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, good.
Go check out his music online.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So what's the name of the song again?
It's called Home. It's Wesley Wilson, Home. You'll find me on there. Here, I'll post the link. I posted a link to the music video, but I'll send you
I didn't see that.
I will send the Spotify.
Brandon, will you save the chat also?
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for letting me come in and for inviting me, Brandon.
Yeah, grateful to have you here, Wes. Appreciate you.
Cool. You guys have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks.
Be awesome.
Alrighty.
Take care, Wes, for your great edition.